But there are also points where your positions are more controversial, right? For example, I think the position of gays is in one sentence.
No, it's not controversial what I said to the Muslims and what I'm saying to the people, as a Muslim. And if you read all the monotheistic tradition, you won't find something which is promoting and saying it's allowed per se from the religious viewpoint. It's prohibited. But the point that it's prohibited from a religious viewpoint doesn't mean that you are going to condemn the people. The starting point of living with people is to say, I may not agree with what you are doing, but I respect who you are.
But how can you not agree with someone's homosexuality?
No.
It's sort of like not agreeing with someone's hair color.
No, it's not the same. From a religious viewpoint, the perception of homosexuality is something which is not something which has to do with the hair color. It's something which has to do with a way of perceiving life or being involved in your own sexuality, which is perceived as the non-natural way. So this is something which is, once again...
it seems that, the gay people I know, they just at some point they discovered that they fall in love with men, or when they're women fall in love with women. That's why I used the parallel with hair color. It's sort of like it's something that grows out of your body, and there it is.
But once again, it's not because everything naturally, it's not because of this. From a religious viewpoint, you have to understand that I'm speaking here from a religious viewpoint. It's not because it's natural that it's good per se. Your own violence could be natural. It's not good per se. You have to think about it to give it a meaning. From a religious viewpoint, this attraction towards another man when you are a man, or another woman when you are a woman, is something that you have to ponder, to master, to control, because it's not perceived as the religious teaching. This is the way I would perceive it from a spiritual viewpoint, from a religious viewpoint. But now the point for me, it's my perception of this. What am I going to translate in my daily life with people choosing to not only have it, but to nurture it and to go for it? This is the point to say, in my religion, it's not promoted, it's something which is prohibited, but when you are with me, the point for me is to respect who you are, and and you do whatever you want to do with yourself, which is exactly the same I'm expecting from the people. I may understand that people don't understand the fact that I'm fasting 1 month every year in my life. What are you doing? I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to respect who I am and to leave me do whatever I want to do. And I think that from a religious viewpoint,
do you think gays need to worry about their position when the percentage of Muslims in Europe grows? If you look at demographics, Muslims have more children than non-Muslims. I think many gays in the Netherlands are worried that if Holland at some point has 3 or 4 million Muslims, that they will say, look, since it's religiously not allowed, we really don't want to see any more of this and this and this. And at some point, all the gains that they feel they've made will be reversed.
I think that it's a good point, because I really think that these worries are not only about gays. It's really about the number of Muslims. You had politicians in this country showing the figures of Muslims growing and saying, okay, look, it's a kind of colonization. And I think that the Muslims should listen to these questions and these worries, because it's very important. What do you want exactly? Do you want to convert the people? Do you want to impose your laws? Do you want to... And the Muslims, and this is why I'm telling you this, from an Islamic viewpoint, I would go for more education within the Muslim communities to understand in which way we deal with others. It's not because you are not... many scholars in the past were saying to the Muslims, you cannot stay here because you can drink alcohol. The answer today is you can stay here because you are not obliged to drink alcohol. But there is something which is quite important.
What if the power balance switches, that, at some point Muslims may be in the majority? I think in one sentence, how safe is multiculturalism with the people who entered Europe under the banner of multiculturalism?
Yes, I was coming to this. Having said these two first statements, the third one is, but now you live in the country, you are a citizen, and you are a Muslim citizen, a Dutch Muslim citizen. You have no right to impose your views on people. But to say this, it's once again, the way people are dealing with them being a majority has also to do with the way they are educated and the way they see the others. So let us, for the time being, when you are in this situation, we are in this situation, to go through a very deep educational process by saying to the people, you have no right to impose your religion. You have to respect the principles of the other. You are not here to spy on people. You are not here to impose anything. You are here to be respected, to respect and to be respected. These teachings are very important. So I think that this is the only way forward, because if we are scared of numbers, it's over. Because, the numbers are going to grow, but we should deal with numbers through a very, very strong educational project here at the grassroots level. And to tell you the truth, during the last generation, 25 years, throughout Europe, you were speaking about my travelings and all this. I'm just trying to do that, to say to the people, look, you abide by the law, you respect the law, you respect your fellow citizens, and you are not here to judge them. Stop judging, learn to love and to respect. This is the central message. But it's not heard on two sides. People are scared of numbers, and others are scared of the perception that, the West doesn't like Islam, so we are not liked. And you know what is happening today? We have something which is the worst, which is exactly the opposite of education, is we are nurturing victim mentalities on both sides. People from the West saying, it's a silent colonization, and Muslims on the other side saying, they don't like us. So we are victims, and we look at the others as victims. What I want to change is to transform the victims into responsible people, actors of the future, and not victims of the present. And this is something which is very difficult, because it means that you have to understand the very meaning of citizenship, the very meaning of spirituality from a religious viewpoint, and the very meaning of respect. And the respect is, I'm just asking one thing. Let my choice be my choice, and I have one right, is to be free and autonomous. You have nothing to impose onto me. And this is the starting point of faith and the starting point of democracy.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if gay friends who will feel obliged to watch this because they're my friends, if they're going to feel any more relieved by this.
Why?
Because it seems that in the best case scenario, in the future, they'll be treated by more and more people with respect, but they will feel that ultimately they're not being treated as full 100% people, because they indulge in, or they live after their homosexual nature. And so it seems a kind of a deal, like if as a Muslim you want to be treated not only with respect, but as a full-blown fellow citizen, then is it such a big step to say, listen, perhaps we should reinterpret a few of those Quranic verses and say, look, there's stuff about slavery and about stoning and about all sorts of stuff that's in the Quran and that we consider now 7th century. Why don't we do the same thing with these verses about homosexuality?
It's not the same. It's not the same. You are speaking about the social construction, and you are speaking about status here, or prohibition. And I think that we are completely wrong if we think that the mutual respect in a multicultural society is you are going to respect me or fully respect me the moment you completely agree with what I am doing. It's never like that. Because the very meaning of multicultural society is that there are cultures, and the cultures are not the same. So we are just saying we have the common law, and we accept that we don't have the same perception of life. And this is it. So don't...
Agree to disagree.
Yes, but this is very important, because you are right. Some people are just expecting from me sometimes to show them respect means you have to completely agree with me. No, my respect is exactly the opposite. Is that I respect you as much as I can accept that you don't agree with my thoughts. So when, for example, you may drink alcohol, I don't. Am I going to tell you, you know what? I will be sure of your love the very moment you completely agree with the fact that we don't have to drink alcohol. It's not this. It's a behavior. With your sexual behavior, with the way you look at family, for example. What is a family? For some homosexuals, a family is two people, a man and a man. It's not this for me. I'm not asking them to have the same vision, the same understanding.
But they ask for the right to marry, yeah.
No, but the point is really this. I really think that it's a very important challenge. We are facing something which is completely new. In a homogeneous culture, it was easy to say, I respect you, because behind it, you have the same universe of reference. Now it's no longer the same. Not the same history, not the same stories, and not the same universes of reference. So with this in mind, you should be able to extract someone from his or her universe of reference by saying, I respect who you are, and I may understand or not. I may not understand your universe of reference, but still I respect who you are. And this has to be done in every single cultural, religious community, every single society. This is why today I'm saying that in our school systems, if we are not going to be more inclusive in what we are teaching, representing this universe by saying it's very complex, we have to reconcile our minds with complexity. And what does it mean, complexity? Sometimes I don't understand, but I have to learn to respect. It's not easy, but this is the starting point for living together. And don't expect from the people to respect you by agreeing with everything you think or do, because it will never happen.